Dave.
Hello.
We forgot to do an intro to your YouTube channel. Do you want to give it a go?
Hello YouTube. Welcome to Trek Day.
Brands Hatch Indy. Half the circuit, same number of cars. It's going to be a busy race. Aim of the game is going to be to stay out of the way of the Class A cars as they're lapping, lose as little time as possible, and try to get past the Class D cars without losing any time myself. Stay out of trouble, get as many places as we can. Qualifying went pretty well. Ended up 5th in class out of 15 Class C qualifiers. Best time was a 56.9. which was about 1.5 seconds off the class pole, which I'm pretty happy with in general. Lining up on the grid to my left, you've got Jonathan Packer in the Civic, who beat me by a couple of hundredths in qualifying. 2 rows ahead of us in the white and green BMW is Rory Baptiste in 3rd. To his right is Jamie McHugh in the red and white Porsche, and then directly ahead of him is Matt Creed in the Clio in P1 in Class C. All around us are Class B cars, and then right at the front of the pack you've got the Class A cars. The start of the race was a complete mess. We come round for our rolling start, we're seeing waved green flags, flashing green lights as you'd expect to see. And then when we come round the final corner, for some reason there's a yellow flag being waved and a flashing yellow light panel. So we're all expecting the red lights to stay on and for us to have to come round for another formation lap. But the lights go out, and I'm still not sure what we should have actually done in this situation, because the letter of the law says you see a yellow flag, you can't overtake till you pass a green flag. Well, there were no green flags. There were no green flags at all, so what should we have done? But the starting lights went out. So technically none of us should have been allowed to overtake until the next time in the race when there was a yellow flag and then a subsequent green flag. Anyway, I'm not complaining because it worked out really well for me, because while everyone else was confused, I saw the lights go out, decided to go, managed to jump 2 people in my class, get up to 3rd place immediately. So I'm directly behind Rory Baptiste there. We've got Jamie McHugh behind me. I'm not expecting to stay in this position for very long because I know that Jamie was a good deal quicker than me in qualifying, but I figure I'll try and follow, see what Rory's doing, see where I can try and do a little bit better than I have done in the past, and just see how long I can stick with this group. Up to this point, I'm really pleased with how the race is going so far. I seem to be quite safe in third, but in the rear view you can just see Jonathan Packer making an overtaking move on Jamie McHugh here, and after this he starts to close the gap on me. With Jonathan ahead, the two of them seem to close the gap on me a lot quicker. And then Jonathan just flies by. For me, I then end up on the outside, which really compromises me. Eager to try and get back past, I'm a little bit foolish. Try and go up the inside where there isn't really a way through. I end up slowing down, losing some speed, and then that lets Jamie just drag past me on the straight. So from third down to fifth, just like that. I'm not sure what goes wrong for Jamie at this point, but he seems to lose all power and then retires from the race from here. Pushes me back up to fourth. Another retirement on the grass up on the right here. This time Matt Creed in his Clio, who was leading the class. And in my rear view, Nick Goff in his Class B Audi TT. This kind of multi-class racing is all about trying to lose as little time as possible in situations like that. Nick being on the inside line is naturally not going to be able to go around the corner as fast as I would be on the racing line, but I obviously can't drive straight through him. So I've got to lift off, slow down a little bit. You lose a little bit of time in those situations. Found ourselves with a surprising amount of clear track for this section of the race, so decided to push the pit stop to 1 or 2 laps from the end of the window, giving ourselves a bit of a buffer should anything go wrong. With 12 minutes left of the race, we're just coming up to Ed Turner in his BMW. He's also Class C. We're about to put a lap on him, but unfortunately for us, Ed thinks that we're racing for position. And I can tell you, that is a very wide BMW when Ed wants it to be. I later found out I was using the wrong gear through this corner the whole day. Really, I probably should have been putting it into second to get a better drive out of here, rather than leaving it in third and watching Ed crawl away. The gearing in this car with these tyres is slightly unfortunate at Brands. I'm hitting the rev limiter at the top of 4th gear right at the end of the main straight there. So I'm having to lift a bit earlier than I want to. I'd probably lose more time if I changed up to 5th and used 5th all the way to the braking point. So really, I think a slightly larger tyre might help around Brands for me. I'm consistently getting a better exit out of this final corner compared to Ed, but unfortunately the way the cookie crumbles with the power to weight rules means that Ed's able to just eke that gap back out again along the next straight. On the corners, being a lighter, lower powered car really helps me, but unless I can make the move happen in a corner, there's no way I'm going to out-drag Ed on the straight. Again, through here, I think maybe if I'd have gone for 2nd gear, maybe I'd have got the jump on Ed here. But bearing in mind I would have had to change up to 3rd at some point, at which point he's going to jump another car length ahead. I've lost a bit of time getting past the Class D BMW back there, which has given Ed a bit of a chance to pull the gap out. But then he catches the next car in traffic, and I get to catch him up again. What I don't know is that at this point Roy Baptiste is in the pit lane serving a penalty. I'm not sure what for, but it's 20 seconds on the timing sheet, so I think it's probably a stop-go penalty, possibly for speeding in the pit lane or maybe pitting outside of the pit window. Likely one of those two things. Upshot of that is, at this point, I'm actually in P2 in the race, with the only car ahead in class being Jonathan Packer in the Civic. I don't know that. I still think I'm in P3, desperately trying to get past Ed before I get overtaken and bumped down to 4th place. I don't know whether it's my tyres getting a little bit warm or whether there's a bit of oil down, but Paddock Hill Bend is starting to feel a little bit greasy by this point in the race. wind up in a bit of a sandwich there, trying to overtake a D car while a B car overtakes me, which unfortunately knocks me back a little bit. So when I initially look in my mirror, I think this is a white BMW, this is a Class A car. Oh no, hang on a minute, it's not, it's Rory, he's in my class, no thank you. Eager not to let him come by, I try a little bit too hard down here and going, whoa. Okay, yeah, bye-bye. And at this point, I think this fight with Ed has cost me 3rd place. I think I've just been bumped down to 4th. And I'm absolutely gutted, but I'm desperate to try and get back past. Meanwhile, all these Class B cars are all fighting amongst themselves. So now I'm trying way too hard. I know I've probably got 1 lap left, maybe 2 laps left. I'm just going a little bit too hot to Paddock Hill, and I'm thinking, oh god, what's going to happen here? Fortunately, managed to keep it pointing in the right direction and get back on the track.
The race begins. The number 65 car now. Yeah, he's got 1 point. Left to run them and the man being got the MX-5.
At this point, I'm very glad to see the checkered flag, but absolutely gutted because I think I've finished P4, having been overtaken by Rory. It's not until a good deal after the race, when we have another look at the timing screen and start counting, that we realise, oh hang on a minute, no, I was in 2nd when I was overtaken, so that means I'm 3rd. Next race is at Snetterton. This time I've got another rookie joining me in the car. We're going to share the drive and swap over during the pit stop. It'll be his first ever race. So I'm really looking forward to that. Until next time, thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe. See you next time.